Hello. How are y'all doing today? Welcome to another edition of Happy Hour. I'm Bob Peters. I'm your bartender today, and I am here at the Cool Fish Bar Monday, and we're all closed. However, we wanted to bring to you guys some really cool happy hour cocktails that you can do in the safety of your own home right there. So we want to do some simple things, and lately, we have been getting some requests for some bourbon drinks. There's been some comments on some of our past posts about do some bourbon drinks. So I've picked out a couple of very, very easy to make cocktails, and I wanted to do at least two. So I picked out one really refreshing bourbon cocktail, and then also a boozy cocktail. And it doesn't really matter. I kind of start off with refreshing when I go out to have a nice drink, and then I move into some more serious things. But there's no right and there's no wrong. So I picked out a couple of really yummy bourbons for y'all. This is Small Batch 1792 out of Kentucky, which is really, really amazing. This one is one of my favorites for several reasons. But one of the reasons why I love it is because of the price. It is an exceptionally reasonably priced bottle. Around here, I think it goes for about $25, $26 a bottle. Now, if you're in the restaurant business, it's a little bit more than that for the state tax. However, if you are buying one for your house, again, 26 bucks I think is exceptionally reasonable, and that to me brings it in at a price where if you needed to have a daily sipper sitting around your house, that one is really, really, really an easy one to go to, honestly. Now, not only that you can sip on that every day, you can sip on it neat, of course, or on the rocks, but also it makes an incredible cocktail. Now, when you get a bourbon that you can make a great cocktail with and also sip on that is really delicious, either one of those, but that is pretty tough to do. So when you do find a bottle that makes great cocktails and it's something you can sip on neat, that is a special bourbon, okay? So that's one of the reasons why I love Small Batch. I love the flavor, I love the price, making great cocktails. All those things are easy to do. This is one of my go-tos for everything, okay? All right, so the next bourbon that we have is another one of my favorites. This one is interesting for a couple of reasons as well. Now, this one is smooth. This is Smooth Ambler Contradiction. And this is an interesting bourbon because, okay, well, first of all, Smooth Ambler Distillery is out of Maxwellton, West Virginia. Super nice people, like some of the best people I've ever met in my life. And the interesting thing here is that it's called Contradiction, and the contradiction in this is that it's a blend. It's a blended whiskey. So it's half sourced, so that means that they have bought some of this whiskey, then it's a high rye that's in there, and then they also have made half of it too. So the other half is a wheated whiskey that they make. And so the contradiction is right there in between blending something that's half bought and half made, and also a rye and a wheat. That's pretty odd too. So the Smooth Ambler guys do amazing, amazing bourbon and some other spirits as well. But their bourbons are my favorite, and this blend is no exception. So that also is one of my favorites, and it's a go-to. It's a little bit more expensive, but it is not anything crazy. I think it's about $55 a bottle. It's not going to break your bank, but it's not quite as cheap as the 1792. But that is a fantastic price value. Okay, all right, enough about that. Let's just get into making some drinks. And if you guys have any questions or any comments, please feel free to add comments down at the bottom. I've got Alex over here, and he's going to let me know of any questions we need to address, and I'll get to them just as soon as possible. Okay? Questions so far? All right, well, listen, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first drink that I'm going to make today is our refreshing drink. It's a really beautiful day outside, and if you get to sit in the sun, this would be a perfect drink for in the sun. Or you know, if you're having that first drink of the night, either or, happy hour is a perfect time for it regardless, okay? So I've got my shaker tin. I'm gonna put a scoop of ice in there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and let my glass start chilling too. So I'm gonna grab like an old-fashioned glass or a highball, whatever you wanna call it. Put a scoop of ice in there as well. I'm gonna put that right there and I'm gonna let that start chilling down. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and make what I like to call an adult beverage. So this is going to be 2 ounces of our small batch 1792, excuse me. Put that in there. And then, okay, simplest drink ever. We're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of some fresh squeezed lemon juice. I just did this right before we came on with you guys. So 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lemon juice. I can't express to you enough how important the fresh stuff is. Now, if you get a chance, sometimes you see those little lemons or those little limes in the grocery store that you can buy that's like lemon juice or lime juice or even bigger bottles. That's not the same thing. It's really, really not. And I'll say that every time I get in front of somebody and they ask me, what's the key ingredient to a good cocktail? Well, think about it just the same way you do food. You know, if you have good ingredients going in, your food's gonna be so much better. Same thing with cocktails. You have good, fresh ingredients and good booze, you're gonna come out with a good cocktail, okay? So that's my soapbox for fresh juice for now, okay? Sorry. All right, so I've got my 2 ounces of small batch 1792 in here. I've got my 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lemon juice. And then I'm going to put an ounce of simple syrup in here, okay? Now, simple syrup is another question I get a lot. And I'll say this every time too. I don't like my cocktails quite as sweet as everybody else. So what I do when I start a bar program or make a cocktail at home, whatever, is I will have people cut the simple syrup in half. So a typical simple is 1 part water, 1 part sugar, right? Makes sense. I cut it in half, so I do 2 parts water, 1 part sugar. And then that way it's a little bit easier to get to that perfect balance for you. Now, if you like things a little bit sweeter, add just a little bit more simple syrup, but I would add maybe 1/4 ounce at a time additionally to it. And if that's not sweet enough, just do it again and again and again until you get that right balance for yourself. Now, recipes and all that, none of that matters unless you enjoy your cocktail. If you follow a recipe to the T and you don't like it, well then fix it. Fix it, because nobody else has to drink your drink, you do. And you know, the worst thing ever is pouring one out. So if it's not sweet enough, make it a little bit sweeter, okay? Don't let anybody else tell you how to drink your drink. Okay, so now I think we have all of our ingredients in there. We've got our bourbon, we've got our simple, and we've got our fresh lemon juice. Let's give it a little shake. All right, so now we're going to strain this into our glass. Now, sometimes people, and this is sort of a modernized version of what a whiskey sour is. The original whiskey sour recipe calls for an egg white. Now, if you want to do that, you're welcome to do that. And there's nothing wrong with an egg white in a drink. It's completely safe. It's been something that's been done in cocktail recipes for, I don't know, 150, 200 plus years. It's forever. So don't be afraid of it. It's really delicious. And what it does, you add an egg white to your cocktail, is it adds a level of creaminess. Like it thickens your drink a little bit. And then when you shake it really well, it adds a layer of froth to the top too. And that's really beautiful. Don't be afraid of it. But if you are, this version is equally as good and really, really, really easy to make. Okay? All right, so now we've got a garnish. So the garnish I'm going to do is super simple as well. Okay, so I've got an orange, got my little cutting board, and I've got my knife, and I'm just going to cut a nice wheel. Cut a nice wheel right there. Just super simple. That's it. But If you want to step it up a little bit, you can get a cocktail cherry, or a sour cherry, or a brandied cherry, a Luxardo cherry, whatever you want. And you put it in the middle of your orange. You make a little jacket out of it, okay?
Like an orange taco.
Like a little taco, that's right. Exactly like a taco. And then you skewer it through the middle and through the jacket or the taco, just like that. Super easy. And that's it. Can you see that? All right. So then you put that at the back of the glass. See if you can prop it up nice and pretty. Oh, that turned out well. All right. There you go. There is your whiskey sour minus the egg white with 1792 small batch bourbon. What do you think? Alex, you want to try that, brother?
I do want to try it. And I want to ask you about egg whites. Sometimes in the grocery store,
Yep.
I see these cartons, like cream comes in, that have like pasteurized egg whites.
Right.
I think people eat that don't want to eat the yolks or whatever. Is that a good ingredient for a cocktail?
So that
feels unsafe about the egg white?
That is a great question. Alex's question was, what about egg whites that you buy in the carton at the grocery store? Can you use those? Yes.
That are pasteurized.
Pasteurized, yes, you are absolutely welcome to use those. My experience with those is that typically you aren't going to get quite the same froth on top. You're going to get the nice flavor. The viscosity is going to be there. However, you're not going to get the foam. The foam is going to be a little bit different. If you can live with that and playing with raw eggs bothers you a little bit, then by all means try that. Try those pasteurized egg whites in the carton. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question.
This is amazing.
Isn't that good?
Juice.
Fresh juice. Fresh juice. That is the whole thing. It is really it's just sort of getting back to basics a little bit. You know, the mystery is there's no mystery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Simple ingredients, even in cooking, it's always
Simple. That's right. So that was a whiskey sour, like the easiest way possible. Okay.
I don't usually drink. I've never really liked whiskey sours, and I think that generally when I've had them, they're done with those premixes that are.
Yep.
I just feel like I get heartburn. I take the first sip and I feel like it's heartburn. This doesn't make me feel that way at all.
No, not at all.
It's
And
amazing.
again, the fresh lemon juice is way different than sour mix that you get in some places where they make a big giant jug of like powdered, and it's because a lot of it is citric acid. It's not dehydrated lemon and lime juice in there. It's not dehydrated lemon juice. None of that's really what it is. So this is just simply lemon juice, and it's a very simple, very traditional whiskey sour minus the egg white. That's it.
Very good.
Very good, right? Okay. All right. How are we doing time-wise?
We're in good shape.
Good shape?
I don't have any questions yet.
Okay. Well, you guys please feel free to ask questions, any comments that you have. If y'all want to suggest something for tomorrow's show or the day after, you're welcome to. We are doing happy hour, streaming into your living room or your kitchen or your bar from our Cool Fish bar Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Monday through Thursday, from 5 o'clock till about 5:30, somewhere around there. And then the saved video will live on the Cool Fish page from there on evermore. And the YouTube channel, that's right. We're going to upload to YouTube as well. Again, so if y'all have any questions, feel free to jump right in, okay? All right, well, I think it's time. Now we have our refreshing cocktail out of the way. I think it's time for our boozy cocktail.
Oh, I thought I tasted booze in that one.
Listen, there's plenty of booze in that one. I promise you that. But I call them refreshing when they're like when you can drink them real fast, or when it's something like will quench your thirst almost.
Something that you don't sip.
That's right. Okay. Let me see. Get it. Clean this. Polish that up a little bit. All right. There we're in good shape. So this one we're going to make in a coupe glass or a martini glass, or you can also make this one if you prefer your drinks on the rocks. Now this is interesting. People ask me about that. That's a great question. Why do you put some things up and why do you put some things on the rocks? Well, to me, cocktails are all about balance. So if something like a whiskey sour, you can put on the rocks and as it dilutes a little bit, it still maintains its integrity. It still tastes good. Sometimes the balance in a drink is so delicate that you dilute it by shaking it or stirring it, and then you put it up. And then when you put it up, then there's no more ice on it, so therefore it doesn't dilute more, so therefore it doesn't fall out of balance. So to me, whether you serve something up or on the rocks is how delicate of a cocktail it is, and if a little bit of dilution will make it fall out of balance. The next drink that we're going to do is called a Boulevardier. This is one of those exceptional cocktails where you, if you prefer things on the rocks, you're welcome to have it on the rocks. But if you prefer to have it up, you can also have it served up as well. Either way you want this one. This one is good to go either way. Okay, this one is actually...
Before we get heavy into
Yeah,
it,
go ahead.
Matt says God loves Pim's Cup. Maybe he wants us to do one later this week.
Okay, we'll do a Pim's Cup. Yeah, absolutely. We are big fans around here of the Pim's Cup, man. That is refreshing as refreshing can be. Those, you could crush those. Those aren't super boozy either, so you can knock back a pitcher yourself and probably still talk English.
Maybe we could do, instead of just the signature Pim's Cup from Cool Fish, maybe we could do 2 or 3 different versions.
Sure, absolutely. We'll do a whole Pim's Cup. Let's do that later this week. We'll do a whole Pim's Cup session, and we'll do 2 or 3 versions. That's a great idea. I love it.
Great.
Matt, thank you. Great idea. Okay, are we ready to get back to it? All right, so back to the Boulevardier. I've got my trusty mixing glass here. Now, if you don't have a mixing glass at home, you can use your tins to mix in. You can use a regular glass, whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. This is a beautiful presentation, and if you're really getting into your cocktails, this looks great sitting around your house or on your bar as well. But not a necessity, but I do love these, okay? So we're gonna move to the other selection that we have today. This is our Smooth Ambler Contradiction. And we are definitely gonna use 2 ounces of this bourbon in order to get our boozy cocktail, okay? So we have our bourbon in, and then this is an interesting go right here. This is Campari, okay? So Campari is like an orange or blood orange, almost a grapefruit type bitter liqueur from Italy. Now this is in the family of Amaro. And Amaro is very simply, it's Italian for bitter. So this is in that same family. Some other ones are like Aperol, Cynar, Fernet Branca. Those are just to name a few other in the same family with Campari, and that's the Amaro family. Okay, so we are going to use 3/4 of an ounce of Campari. And then we've got one more ingredient. This one is super simple, but we're going back to some booze here. We've got some really nice Italian sweet vermouth, and we're going to use a 1/2 ounce of that. Okay? And I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. We've got bourbon, Campari, and sweet vermouth in there, and then all of a sudden bells start ringing, and everybody's like, wow, sounds exactly like another classic cocktail I know, the Negroni. Well, you're right. It is like that far away from a Negroni, and this Boulevardier was developed off of the Negroni. A Negroni is gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari. This one is bourbon, sweet vermouth, and Campari, and so this is basically a bourbon Negroni, and really, really beautiful, and boozy and bitter, and we're going to stir this one. This is one of my all-time favorite cocktails. I love bourbon, I love boozy, and I love bitter, and I love a stirred cocktail, and this checks all those boxes for sure. Alex just asked me what Boulevardier means, and this is funny too. The Boulevardier is French, and it means man of the street. So if you translate that just a little bit further and read between the lines, that's a pimp. And another reason why I love this cocktail so much. Okay, All right, so we have everything ready here in our Boulevardier, our man of the street. We have our bourbon, our contradiction, 2 ounces of that. We have 3/4 of an ounce of our Campari and a 1/2 ounce of our sweet vermouth. And that is, the sweet vermouth that I used was Antica Formula. Really, really, really amazing. Beautiful, beautiful sweet vermouth made by the Carpona family in Italy. They've been doing that for the past 200 years down there. That stuff by itself is incredible. It tastes like sweet raisin sex, and I'm not kidding. Try it by itself. I swear to God, Alex is laughing at me. No, I swear. Try it by itself, and you'll be like, oh my God, Bob was right. That tastes like raisin sex. It goes right there to the California raisins every time, right? We're showing our age a little bit. Okay, all right, here we go. We got to get this drink poured here. All right, before this goes any further downhill. Okay, so let's pour this into our coupe glass. Again, if you would prefer this on the rocks, you're welcome to drink it that way. I prefer it up, so I wanted to make that for you guys like so. Okay, one more thing we just have to garnish this bad boy. So we're going to use an orange. And I'm going to take my Y peeler that I have right here, and I'm just going to start at the top of the orange, or if you want to call it the head of the orange, and then work your way down to the foot. You can do that. Just maintain steady pressure the whole way down, and what's going to end up coming off of there is just a nice big swath of that orange peel, okay? And you should have maybe a little bit of pit in there, maybe a little bit of the white stuff, but you shouldn't squeeze it so hard and dig so far down, deep down, that you're getting any of the meat in the orange, okay? Now, if you do, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. You can just scrape that off if you need to. But those Y peelers are really great about doing what they're supposed to, okay? But, oh yeah, be careful about that. The Y peelers are still knives, okay? So don't try to hack through it, okay? They are a knife, and they will take skin just like they take orange peel, okay? Be careful. All right. So what we're going to do now, then this is the last step, is we're going to express this orange peel over our Boulevardier. And if you want to, you can try a little sip now, and then try it after you express the orange. It's a pretty incredible transformation. In fact, I would call them almost 2 different cocktails. But if you don't have the orange, fine. But if you do, you definitely want to add it. It just adds a nice, airy citrus note to the finish, and it's really beautiful. So let's give it a little squeeze. You can see that orange oil shooting out over the glass really beautifully. And that's just going to add this really nice essence, the soul of the orange. And it's going to give it a nice orangey citrus note also to the nose. And then just plop that bad boy down in the glass. You call that putting the flag in there, and that's it. Super delicious, really boozy. You want to try this one?
I'm gonna offer it to Case.
Come on, Case. Come on over here. We got a new friend who just came in there. Try that. Right there. How about it?
Okay, so, all right, yeah, I understand. Wow.
What do you think?
Fantastic.
Not too shabby, right?
Yeah, that's delicious.
So loads of booze. It's all booze. So we've got bourbon in there, Campari, and sweet vermouth. It's boozy, bourbony, and bitter. Really delicious. Now these, since they're all booze, you don't want to drink quite as quick as maybe those whiskey sours. However, this is an amazing cocktail to sip on. I love to sort of wind down with a nice boozy, bitter drink like this.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. Okay, any more questions, you guys? If you have any more questions, feel free. Type them on in, get something in the comments. And if you don't catch us while we're live, then we will read all the older comments, and we'll talk about them tomorrow. So do not forget that tomorrow at 5 o'clock, we're doing happy hour again here at the Cool Fish Bar. We'll be streaming live into your safe, happy living room or your kitchen or wherever you want to be. Tomorrow, if you guys have any suggestions for us, we are fielding questions and suggestions for tomorrow's class, tomorrow's happy hour right now, okay? Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Y'all stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow, okay? Thanks. Bye.